Alright, first and foremost, let me take a minute to thank my new subscribers. My first subscriber ever is Long Arm Fossils, and I want to thank you for that, my friend. My second is TJ Wells, and I want to thank you as well. At the time of this recording, I have a total of 3 subscribers. But the other one has his or her privacy settings such that their subscriptions aren't shared, so I can't see their name. Otherwise, I'd be giving a shout out to them too. This is a very new YouTube channel, and you are helping me get up off the ground. So again, thank you. Feel free to leave a comment, especially if you disagree with me and want to have a conversation. That is what's going to make this fun for me, and I hope for you guys as well. Now, on to brass tacks.
Here's how to quickly and definitively refute the theory of evolution.
Okay, Diamond Brothers at the VaticanCatholic.com YouTube channel. I'll bite. Lay it on me.
If you began with DNA but without proteins, you could never get to proteins or life, because DNA needs already existing proteins to even function or form proteins.
Ah, I think I see where this is going.
Both DNA and proteins, not to mention the many other molecular machines that enable them to interact, must have been present from the beginning of life. One could not have evolved into the other because they require one another for sustenance and utility. They must have been and were created simultaneously. Evolution is false.
This video and its much longer companion piece, Information Proves God, explain the intricate processes of DNA replication and protein synthesis, and then declare it all to be too complicated to have happened at random. We can quickly refute this quick refutation. This point is very similar to the old creationist mantra about irreducible complexity. Take something as complicated as the human eye. It couldn't possibly have emerged over time through random mutations. Therefore, it must have been designed by a divine intelligence, specifically, my God. Richard Dawkins debunked this brilliantly in The Blind Watchmaker, by laying out an elegant explanation for how eyes have evolved independently multiple times throughout nature, including specific examples of intermediary forms. But there is no widely accepted theory about how life originated or where DNA came from. It's one of the biggest gaps in humankind's understanding of nature. But does that mean that the Diamond Brothers' assertion is correct? The arguments here all reduce down to more detailed versions of the following. 1, it's complicated, therefore my God did it. And 2, no one knows how it happened, therefore my God did it. Indeed, many apologist arguments fit into such template, and that is very instructive. Religion has its origins in humankind's pathetic, terrified infancy. Imagine that you're one of the first human beings to emerge on Earth. Imagine looking out at this bizarre, untamed planet with wholly new eyes. What a terrible train wreck it must have seemed like. There's madness and death in every direction. Where do the lightning strikes come from? Why did my brother cough up green slime and die? Why do so many women die in childbirth? Where did we come from? Why is this happening to us? And what happens to us after we're gone? With no scientific understanding, these sad, confused, desperate questions have no answers. And this is how the faith meme operates. It inserts itself into these empty spaces, captures your imagination and your heart, and becomes the explanation. If you accept a religion meme, you're ultimately subverting your own free agency and willingly living a delusion. Sometimes, the best, truest, and most honest answer really is nobody knows. And right now, nobody knows how life originated. There may have been interstitial steps leading up to what we now know as DNA. But if it left no detectable trace, we may never be able to piece together a concrete answer. But that doesn't mean God did it. You could potentially invent an infinite number of imaginary explanations of where DNA comes from with no evidence. The assertion DNA was created by Yahweh, a Bronze Age Palestinian war deity, carries about as much weight as DNA was invented by Fluttershy. The holy books didn't have the right answer on the differentiation of species, just like they don't have the right answer on the nature of disease, the nature of mental illness, or the nature of homosexuality. If anyone ever figures out how life originated and where DNA came from, I suspect that the answer will be a lot more interesting than God did it. And look how religion has twisted the Diamond Brothers. They live alone in a monastery in the middle of nowhere, lashing out at the world.
They're all heretics. That's just the truth. They're all heretics. But you are a heretic and on the road to hell without any doubt.
Countless people begin the new year by committing the mortal sins of drunkenness and fornication.
First, by procuring pollution without any copulation or sexual intercourse for the sake of venereal pleasure. This pertains to the sin of uncleanness, which some call effeminacy.
This is a photo of Anti-Pope Francis. We can see him giving what looks to be the sign of the master of the second veil in Freemasonry.
God allowed Ebola to show up first in Dallas because the Dallas Cowboys recently signed Michael Sam, the first openly homosexual player in the history of the NFL. In addition to all of those things, the reason John Paul II was the guy, the Antichrist, was that he taught that he and everyone else is Jesus Christ.
And when you repeat, another one bites the dust, you get this. Start to smoke marijuana. Why does Paul VI speak so much about magic? It is precisely because he knows that it was black magic that allowed him, a satanic infiltrator, to fool the world into thinking that he was a pope. St. Gregory the Great relates that a child 5 years old who had arrived at the use of reason was seized by a devil for having uttered a blasphemy and carried into hell.
I could mock them, believe me. I wanted to put wacky sacks behind that montage with every fiber of my being, but this isn't funny, it's sad. A life dedicated to delusion is a life wasted.